The Philadelphia Eagles made a major play for Marcus Williams, and they missed. Marcus Williams ends up signing with the Baltimore Ravens, and it leaves the question, if you're the Philadelphia Eagles, what do you do now? Like, what do we do at safety now? Let's get into that topic, guys. What's up, Eagles Nation? What's going on, NFL world? How you doing, Division Rivals? This is Steven Hyder with Gate City Sports Channel. The sports channel where the cerebral NFL fan comes for about 10 minutes of daily content. Good morning, everybody. So, Marcus Williams, man. I mean, obviously the Eagles really wanted a few players in this draft class. They got Hassan Reddick. They seem to be really in on trying to upgrade that safety position alongside the linebacker, rush, edge, whatever you want to call it, position there. And they made a play for Marcus Williams, and it didn't work out. Now, I will say there's some argument to be had here. I don't know what the value should be on a guy like this. I know there could be arguments like, Steve, they should have tried a little harder. He ended up getting 5 years, $70 million, $37 million guaranteed, and an average annual value of about $14 million. I don't know what the Eagles offered him, guys, other than they said it was a competitive offer. That can mean a lot of things to a lot of different people. But if you look at the AAV of contracts, right, their average annual value and where that contract ranked, I mean, Jamal Adams is number 1 at over $17 million. Harrison Smith is number 2, over $16 million. Justin Simmons from Denver is number 3. Budda Baker from Arizona is 4. Eddie Jackson out there in Chicago is 5. Kevin Bird out there in Tennessee is 6. Landon Collins is tied with Marcus Williams with 7. Okay, they're tied at 7, $14 million. Quandre Diggs is 8th after that. Guys got paid. I think that's what I got from the safety classes. I don't know if the Eagles just got uncomfortable with the contract values, because dudes really did get paid. Quandre Diggs, he got paid. Marcus Williams just got paid. Jesse Bates got the franchise tag, and he got paid. He's now like a top 10, 12 safety in terms of the value, the AAV. Justin Reed got paid at $10.5 million. The player everybody wants to hear, the player everybody wants you to talk about is the Honey Badger, Tyrann Mathieu. Here's the thing. Impact player, man. He would immediately bring impact to the defense. There's no doubt about it. I'm absolutely rooting for something like that to go down here in Philadelphia. No doubt about it. But I got to ask a question, man. Kansas City let him walk, and they still signed Justin Reed at $10.5 million. Justin Reed, you guys know I was high on him. Athletic guy. A lot of athleticism there, right? He can man up, and he can play on tight ends. I will say that Justin Reed gives you a lot of athleticism. I don't think that Justin Reed is particular to a scheme, so I don't think he's that different from Mathieu. I mean, Mathieu kind of plays off his own little thing here. Like, he's really good at anticipating things. He plays off his instincts, so I wouldn't call him necessarily a scheme guy, but what's the value, guys? What is the value of a contract like this? I don't know. I have no clue where to start that contract. Is he going to get more than Marcus Williams? I think it's possible. Now, I don't think it's 100% guaranteed, but I definitely think there's a possibility he's going to get that kind of money. $14 million, and you land the Honey Badger. I mean, if the Eagles can find a way of structuring the contract to make sense, I mean, they got to be a little concerned with this year. They can't just, I'm going to be honest, guys, they can't outright afford $14 million in 2022. Now, when you look at AAV, that doesn't mean that every single year the guy's making 14. It's an average. They got to find a way of working that contract to make sense in 2022 with those escalators coming in 23 and 24. I mean, Mathieu is 29 years old, guys, so he's a year younger than Anthony Harris. He's a far more impactful player than Anthony Harris. I love Rodney McLeod. He's clearly a better player than Rodney McLeod. Look, guys, if you can get him on like a Darius Slay type situation where you can get him for 3 years, really being a 2-year contract with 3 years in length, and then it gives you the flexibility to maybe extend and play around and move things in case you want to do something here contractually. Extend him whatever you want to do if he can, if he has that football life left in him, the way Darius Slay has kind of had a resurgence here in Philadelphia after last year. He feels like he's been breathed in some fresh air. Sure. But we can't guarantee that, guys. We have no clue the valuation of that contract's going to come. It could be below $14 million. If it keeps going on and teams are signing guys and there's just not a lot of landing spot, he might not have a choice but to sign for less than that. Right? I mean, that's facts. He might have to take less money than he anticipated. It could be more than $14 million, though, too, guys. That's the other side to it. Who are some of the other options? If it falls through and we cannot get the Honey Badger, what do the Eagles do? Marcus May has familiarity with Denard, our secondary coach. He knows Denard Wilson very well. He's a good football player. He's coming off a really down year, and that's the scary part to me, is that you're dealing with a guy who's coming off an injury and he's coming off of a down year, but once upon a time was thought of as a very, very good safety. Can you get this reclamation project in order, right? Can you have an Xavier Rhodes type situation? Jonathan Gannon kind of brought together this reclamation project around Xavier Rhodes and revived his career in Indianapolis when he was there. Can he do the same thing? Can Denard Wilson do the same thing with a guy like Marcus May? I think it's worth a shot, guys. I definitely think it's worth a shot, because outside of Marcus May, what are your other free safeties? Jaworski Tart, good football player. I know he dropped the interception in the championship game, the NFC championship game, but he's an upgrade over what we had. He's 30 years old, same age as like Anthony Harris. He's a good football player. I don't hate Tart coming into Philadelphia. I think it'd be a good pickup, man. Those San Francisco dudes just have a knack for playing physical. I wouldn't mind adding a little physicality to the defense, right? They're not the playmakers that Mathieu is, the Honey Badger, but these are solid football players. Past that, guys, in terms of your free safeties, you're left with a running it back again with Rodney McLeod, which I'm not opposed to, especially if you're going in the draft and you're going to draft a guy and you bring back a Rodney McLeod just to kind of bridge the position for another year or so. I don't, look, man, Rodney McLeod's a good guy. I loved having him here in Philadelphia. I'm not even opposed to Anthony Harris playing a bridge role. I just think you have to find upgrades going into the future. And it'd be nice if you're going to run it back with either one of those guys that you spend a fair draft pick here at safety. When I say fair draft pick, it's got to be day 1 or day 2, guys. You can't be slipping past day 2 trying to take these projects and turn them into something. You need to invest a little bit here. Past that, guys, the only person I see that could really play the free would probably be Justin Burris. Justin Burris can kind of play both. He can play free, he can play strong. Justin Burris is a guy that he could kind of play nickel corner, he could play strong safety, he could play free safety for you. I don't think he's an incredible athlete. I think he's a little bit more in that Rodney McLeod range of guys. He's younger than McLeod, but I think he's that kind of talent level, right? Where he's not like a true impact player, but just a really solid football player. Dude that just does the right things, right? Justin Burris makes a ton of sense to me, guys. Past that, you're in the strong safety market, right? You got an aging veteran, Kareem Jackson. He's going to be like 33 years old or something like that, guys. I don't know. I think you got to be careful when you're getting up in age like that. Then you got like Terrell Edmonds, a younger guy from Baltimore, more of a strong safety type. Can line up, he can play up over, tight ends. We'll have to see how the Eagles, the interest there in a guy like Terrell Edmonds. You got a guy like Jabril Peppers coming from a division rival here. Once upon a time, this guy was viewed as an incredible athlete, a dude that could kind of move around and be versatile in the defense. It's a matter of can Gannon and can Denard Wilson get the most out of these type of players. I'm not opposed to taking shots on guys that maybe weren't as high on other people's boards. Sometimes you got to trust in your position coaches to elevate the play of guys. Look, you got 2 guys in here who are highly respected for coaching defensive backs. Denard Wilson is highly respected. Past Denard Wilson, Jonathan Gannon is highly respected as our D coordinator. We got to do some things sometimes, right? J-Ron Kirsch from, I hate to say, guys from Dallas. Big physical dude, 6'4", 215, former Clemson Tiger. Big guy, strong safety type. He improved himself last year. He played a lot better last year than he did the years prior. I don't know, guys. I have no clue what their interest would be in a guy like that. But that's kind of where it's left at. Then you just have your retreads. You're bringing back a Rodney McLeod or an Anthony Harris. That's your options right now. I looked over the trade market. I was looking at AFC options. You go to Buffalo, and you got guys like Jordan Palmer, Jordan Poyer, Mekhi Hyde, and Siran Neal under contract. Siran Neal's an interesting guy to me because he's not really a safety. He's just a versatile guy. He's a guy that can play safety, he can play nickel cornerback, he can play outside. I mean, maybe you take a guy like Siran Neal and you try to see what you can blend and match up in the secondary, right? You go to Cincinnati, they got Jesse Bates and Von Bell. Both young guys, both making a little bit of money. Jesse Bates, I think, is on like a $12.9 million contract for this year with the franchise tag. You look at Von Bell, he's got $6 million. Maybe you can get a guy like Brandon Wilson. He's going to be a free agent next year. He's not going to have a huge role in Cincinnati, and at the very least in Philadelphia, he's going to be your second or third at worst. He'll be your second or third guy in the safety room. I mean, maybe you look at a guy like Brandon Wilson from Cincinnati, guys. I mean, maybe they do something like that. You look at Miami. I tried to make it make sense in Miami, guys. I couldn't. They just, unless they're going to let go of Javon Holland or somebody like that, I can't see that one working its way out. I kind of looked around the league, and there's not a ton of options. We might have to be in the draft, guys. We might need to be in the draft to upgrade the position. It is what it is. I wish I had better news for you, but it seems like this is going to have to be something that if you don't make a play for one of these guys I just named, you're probably going to have to be in this draft, and you're going to have to spend a fair draft capital here. Something in day 1 or day 2. First, second, third rounder, we'll see. I just don't know, guys. I mean, we can look at NFC East, or not NFC East. We can look at NFC teams that are outside of our division, within the conference, but outside of our division. Maybe somebody would bite, but uncomfortable situation to be in for the Philadelphia Eagles, guys. All right, y'all. I appreciate y'all's time and attention. Let me know your thoughts down below. What do you think the Eagles should do at safety, guys? All right, y'all. I'll see y'all in the next video.